My name is Erica Rivera. I'm an actress, painter, and body suspension performer, and I do tattoos. Art is really my life. It's my purest form of expression. It is my outlet. It's basically every career that I currently have in some different form. And like I said, it's really my best way of expressing. I would say the word artist started for me when I was really young because I was always an entertainer, and it was more than about being able to sing or being able to act. It was about being a complete package, having like a star factor. And people always refer to me as an artist, even as a musician. When I got older and I got into actually painting and being hands-on with drawing out tattoos and really having the freedom to create, that's when I knew I was an artist. I like the way that the blue shows through in the background right now. It's giving me purple. I'm very blessed in that way. Like, my parents were always extremely supportive of me. I accredit them immensely for the reason why I am the way that I am, because I was always raised to express myself freely, to be exactly who I was and who I felt that I wanted to be, without judgment. My parents always let me feel that I was going to be loved regardless. So I think that had a huge impact on why I was able to evolve into who I am, because I never felt restricted. If it makes sense, I do not necessarily like symmetry, but I like balance. So whereas like I don't necessarily need things to be even, I need it to feel still at some way balanced, you know? So like if something's down here and over here, I gotta bring it back over here and a little bit down here, you know, like. In the beginning, when I was younger, like I said, I started with music and acting at a really young age. So when I was in public school and I started to, you know, like the episode I did on That's So Raven came out, I was in public school, you know, and people would kind of like treat me a little bit differently, like, oh, you think you're all that, or some people wanted to be my friend that never really wanted to be my friend before, and even at a younger age, yeah, I would get bullied a little bit, but like I said, I always had the encouragement at home to kind of just keep going regardless, and as I got older, it became a lot easier. So as far as art, I would definitely say one of my favorite and controversial wild piece would be any of my Fuck Trump pieces. Those always go have a really strong impact, because I think that to be a young person, to be somebody who doesn't necessarily work for anybody else and who creates freely, to have a political stance or say anything, use that sort of artistic platform to speak on any sort of political stance is empowering, is impactful, and to show other people that we have a voice as well, no matter how we look, was very meaningful to me. So that's probably one of my wildest pieces that got a lot of attention, and I say wild because it was a little bit of a risk, but I have a few like really cool. I have like a Hello Kitty with like a knife dripping, which I think is a little weird, and the biggest piece to date was a really dope collab I did with another female artist, and that is wild just because it's amazing. But I still really have a lot of evolving to do. I want to get into murals next, so I think my mind has been imagining some of the places that can go as far as size is concerned, and that has definitely sparked the word wild. Showing my art to the public. I've been painting for quite a few years behind closed doors. I actually started painting literally because I had just got my first apartment and I couldn't afford any art on the walls or anything in the apartment. So I had taken a bunch of old sneaker boxes because I was a sneakerhead at the time, and I just took a bunch of like Jordan and Nike boxes, and I would use different pieces of the shoe boxes as canvas essentially. So I would either use the lid or break apart the box, and I would take different pieces of cardboard and I would paint over them. That's actually how the Hello Kitty came about. That was one of the first pieces I made. And so I essentially wasn't spending very much at all to make things that kind of gave my space personality. And that was years, maybe 5 years ago now, that I started painting. It's been 1 year since I started doing art shows, live paintings, and networking with other artists, and it just kind of took off. All the time. I think the cool thing that has recently happened for me is that I stopped allowing that to feel like pressure and started to realize that is okay, you know, for me to be passionate about multiple things and be good at multiple things is okay. I'm allowed to be that and embrace all of those parts of me because this is just who I am. So although I've struggled with like the amount of focus that I give certain things that I do, I think it's all started to naturally form together over time. I think I gave those things more attention at the time that I did for a reason. I think the universe kind of worked itself out, and now I'm starting to really figure out how to brand everything together as just Erica Rivera, you know, the artist. So my dad has owned the shop altogether about 13 years. I've been on board for maybe a total of 5, and here full time now for 2 years. My favorite part about tattooing, I think especially in Norristown, being a little bit of a smaller, close-knit town where everybody kind of knows everybody, is that I get to meet a lot of very unique individuals of all different personalities and walks of life, you know, and I've been able to really affect people in ways that I never expected before. You know, I could be, one time I was in the middle of doing a tattoo, and I happened to ask the gentleman what the names were that I was tattooing, and he told me the story of the people that was getting their names tattooed on him, and it was heartbreaking. He began crying, I began crying. It was a super moving experience, and that's just one of many examples of like little ways in which like working in a community like this has really just been like fulfilling emotionally for me. I also want everybody here to know how much that this place has impacted me. I may gripe from time to time about this town or this, you know, having to work the schedule that I do, and maybe the weather, but you know, being here has taught me so much, has really, you know, just pressured me into a gem. And I'm really excited about the person that I have become because of this last couple of years here, and what that's going to help me with moving forward. So I want to say thank you, really. Erica Rivera is a rare type because there is no been able to basically make the things that I like to do for fun what I get to do for a living. I think it's rare that you reach the level of peace and happiness with yourself that I oftentimes feel now at this age,